The meta has been out for 2 weeks since the B patch, so in this video, I'll cover my tier list and strategy for climbing on this patch, as well as how to play all the comps mentioned. Looking at my tier list, I base this on my own experience, what the top challengers are playing, and also what the data says about each comp. Overall, the meta is mainly forecast carries and reroll comps, but generally, you need a good opener to play those reroll comps. In S tier, we have Innovator Irelia alone. This comp is incredibly dominant, and you will farm top 4s if you play this comp. Although it got nerfed, the other strong comps last patch got nerfed even harder, and allows this comp to become even stronger on this current patch. In A tier, we have Renata Brusier. It didn't get nerfed, so it just became a little stronger, but nowhere near as strong as Innovator Irelia. Jhin can be played with Enforcers or Innovators, a strong comp overall, but suffers from it being reliant on Jace to hit 4 Enforcers. Without it, you won't stun the enemy carries, which is what makes this comp strong, as you get a big head start, allowing your frontline to move deeper into their team, and also gives you more sniper damage. Draven has a similar story to Jhin. You will mostly play this when you hit it naturally and pivot into it. It's a good comp, but nowhere near as good as Irelia. Warwick is the strongest reroll comp overall. It plays really well into Irelia as it's able to block a lot of the damage with Chemtech and also heals a decent amount, making it hard for Irelia to target Warwick in the first place. Because of this, it plays well into the meta and moves up to A tier. In B tier, we have Mutants. They are strong depending on which synergy the mutant trait is. The only synergies worth playing are Mana Reduction and Execute on 20%. It's still heavily reliant on Malzahar 3-star or Cho'Gath 3-star to win games, which makes it inconsistent and is also why it won't go any higher than B tier. Talon reroll is overall decent, but the strength of this comp comes from having an early Talon so you can save HP and have enough money and time to hit Talon 3-star. Ashe reroll got hit quite hard with the nerfs, which puts her down to B tier. It has a similar story to Talon. You need good items early so you can save HP and not fall too far behind in the mid game if you want to play it. Syndra reroll has been surprisingly strong, since Syndra is able to throw Irelia to the other side of the map. It plays quite well into that comp, but struggles a little into others, which is what's holding her back from climbing above B tier. Ahri is something I only play if I have AP items and I can't play other forecast carry comps. The power of this comp is just overall too low for it to perform any better than B tier. If there is a comp I didn't mention here, it's because that comp is in C tier or lower. Now moving on to my strategy for climbing on this patch, if we look at the meta, it's dominated by Irelia, and overall forecast carries are strong. And since Irelia is strong, I always default towards that comp every single game. My potential pivots are Jhin and Draven, but I only pivot if I'm struggling to hit Innovator units during the early and mid game, and if I find units for those two comps instead. I start Glove on the first carousel. This is because Irelia wants both Last Whisper and IE, and since gloves overall are pretty flexible, I like starting them as it allows me to pivot into other comps relatively easily. If I do not have an Innovator opener and I hit units for a reroll comp such as Warwick or Talon, I will play those comps if I have items for them, but the vast majority of the time I will just stick to Innovators as it's very hard to lose once you hit that board. Because of this, I always pick up and hold Innovator units in the early game, and I'm willing to play units that synergize with that comp such as Camille and Twitch as well. There are two ideal openers for that comp, and the first one is Ezreal as your item carrier. This can also work with bodyguards or scrap as well, but you prefer Innovators so you can sell the other units on your bench for eco. The second opener is Twitch. You will play this the same way as Twitch reroll, but instead of rerolling, you will go for a fast 8 and use him as the item carrier for Irelia. Now let's talk about all the comps mentioned, starting with Innovator Irelia. Here you're running Irelia as your main carry, and you place her wherever the Socialite Hex is. You need IE and Last Whisper on her to make sure she crits with her spell, and also to make sure she doesn't get stuck on tanks. BT is there to heal us up even more, as sometimes the 33% healing from Socialite is not enough. You put utility items on Seraphine or Echo. At level 9, you add an Orianna for Clockwork and Enchanters. As for augments, you want Innovator Heart to drop Singed for Orianna, or Socialite Heart to drop Senna for 3 Socialite. Duet is amazing as you can run Seraphine and Jace as your carry, and Meditation is amazing as the rest of your team provides a lot of healing or utility, buffing up Irelia even more. Next up is Renata Brusiers. You play 6 Bruisers plus Renata, and then you play Victor in for 3 Chemtech. Your main carry is Renata, her only core item is Morello, and then you want Blue Buff or Sojin as your second item. And you want Gunblade or Hodge as your third item. Throw your AP or tank items on Vi, and then once you hit Tahm Kench, throw AP and tank items on him as well. The goal is to get to level 8 as fast as possible so you have a realistic chance of hitting Tahm Kench for 6 Bruisers, and if you are able to make it to level 9, add in Silco for 2 Scholars. As for augments, anything to buff up Bruisers is insane in this comp. Blue Battery is also fantastic as it makes Vi only need 1 auto between every cast, and also makes Renata need 1 less auto before she casts again. Next up is Enforcer Jhin. You have to play fast 8 with this as you're reliant on Jace for this comp to work. You use Jhin as your main carry and Vi or Jace as your main tank depending on who used 2-star first. Items for Jhin are IE and Last Whisper to make sure he doesn't get stuck on tanks. Hurricane, Deathblade, Giant Slayer want to be the 3rd items, but if you don't have a healing augment, you want BT or Hodge as your 3rd item. If you're lacking frontline, you can drop Zeri or MF to play 4 Bruisers or 2 Bodyguards. You can also move Jace to the backline to give you even more damage in that case as well. The best augments are anything to do with snipers, Exiles for more frontline, and a healing augment is insanely good in this comp. Next up is Draven. With this, you need VIP Draven for the comp to work. We need IE and Deathblade to get as much damage into Draven as possible. The 3rd item is usually a healing item like Hodge or BT, but Giant Slayer or Hurricane can also work. The best augments are anything to do with Challengers, Backfoot for even more attack speed, and anything to do with Debonair to further buff up Draven is also great. Next up is Warwick reroll. You slow roll with this board at level 6 by dropping Draven and Kai'Sa. You 3-star Warwick and put QSS and Titans on him. The 3rd item is either Shiv or Rageblade. If you make Shiv, you want more Challengers, and if you make Rageblade, you want more Chemtech. In that case, you can drop Camille and Quinn for 5 Chemtech instead. Tryndamere can also carry, but Warwick is better, but Tryndamere wants any AD items you have left over after making 3 items for Warwick. The best augments are anything to do with Challengers or Chemtech, as well as healing augments to further buff up Warwick and Tryndamere. For Mutants, the only variations worth playing are Mana Reduction and Execute. You want to end up with this board at level 8, and from there, you try to 3-star Malzahar and Cho'Gath to win the game. If not, you will play for a top 4 unless you get Kai'Sa with really good items. Malzahar wants blue buff and Gunblade to heal up himself and Cho'Gath. The 3rd item wants to be Morello, Deathcap, or JG for more damage. Cho'Gath wants Redemption and 2 other tank items. Kai'Sa can be itemized if you 2-star her, but that is quite rare at level 8. As for augments, anything to do with Mutants is great. Second Wind is insanely strong to give Cho'Gath more than half of his HP back, and Blue Battery is nice to make Malzahar cast even more often. Next up is Talon. You need VIP Talon for this comp to work, and his items are the same with RFC, IE, and a healing item with either Hodge or BT. Slow roll at level 6 for 3 stars with this board minus Silco and Braum, and the best augments are anything to do with Assassins or Debonairs, Trade Sector to hit even faster, and also Featherweights to get even more attack speed. Next up is reroll Ashe. You slow roll with this board at level 6 minus Silco and Orianna, and then you play Caitlyn until you hit Jhin. Items for Ashe are IE and Last Whisper, and the 3rd item is Rageblade or another AD item like Giant Slayer or Deathblade. As for augments, Syndicate Heart is great as you can go for 7 Syndicates or drop Zyra for a better unit, Featherweights to boost up attack speed, and Trade Sector to hit even faster. Next up is Syndra reroll. You slow roll with this board minus Echo and Renata. You go for 3-star Syndra, Zyra, Leona, and Blitzcrank. Items for Syndra are Sojin to make sure she keeps casting, Gunblade to heal up herself and her team. The 3rd item is a damage item like Deathcap, JG, or Giant Slayer. As for augments, the best ones are anything to do with Debonairs or Scholars. Also, mana generating augments are fantastic in this comp. Next up was Ahri. With this comp, you want to get to level 8 to hit all your 4-cost 2-stars. Make sure to always have Ahri on the 3rd row to make sure she can reach the enemy backline with her spell and might one-shot one of the enemy carries. Blue buff is essential for Ahri. This comp is close to unplayable without it, and then you add 2 more damage items like JGIE, Deathcap, Archangels, or Giant Slayer. I only like running 5 Syndicates if I get +1 Syndicate, as then you can replace Renata for Morgana to get that in. As for augments, Blue Battery is insanely strong in this comp. Anything to do with Syndicates is also nice, and more damage augments like Jewel Lotus or Luden's Echo are also great. Thank you so much for watching. If you learned something, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Comment down below what video you want me to make next, and if you want to get better at TFT, join the Discord. We got over 7,000 other players there who are hungry to climb. And if you want to get coached by me, the information is over on the Discord server as well. So take care and see you in the next video.